Hello everyone, thank you very much for once again joining us in our series of videos. We're dealing with the origins of stress in a strive to enhance our knowledge about how we work, how things happen with us from a biological, from a clinical, from a psychological point of view. Remembering that this knowledge, although it is very common, you will hear me or read me saying that knowledge is one thing, wisdom is another, gnosis and nous, which they are in fact distinct ideas and distinct experiences in our life. But knowledge, when well administered, when solid, healthy, honest knowledge can help us enhance our wisdom. And with wisdom, we can obviously live a more gratifying life. We can live a more constructive life where we are more beneficial to ourselves and to others. So, to inspire is to achieve. And it is all about inspiration here. Today we're going to talk about our search, our quest in many moments for totality. As we have seen previously, it is common we go after the unprecedented. It is common that we, in order to enrich our environment, so to say, we might use resources of novelty. Preferably something that has never been seen, something unparalleled, something. And then one of the shapes of this unparalleledness is completeness, totality. It is very common, it is a very widespread intuition we have that when something is not total, it is not complete. When it is not complete, it is flawed. Now that is true when what we have is a fishing net. Do you have a fishing net that has a hole in it? Yes, the whole fishing net is sort of useless. But that is not true for everything. So when I don't know everything about myself, that doesn't mean that what I know is flawed. If I don't know everything I think I should know about myself, doesn't mean I don't know enough. I might not know everything. I might not recall everything. I might not be able to feel the impact of my words and my attitudes totally. But I can read these things sufficiently to be able to conduct myself, to conduce myself in a more social, pro-social, constructive, edifying manner. So one of the fictions we have is that there has to be a totality. Then that is very strongly injected in our ideas. When we're at a school age, at least when I was in school, we had our grades in Brazil go from 0 to 10, or maybe 0 to 100. Alternatively, A, B, C, D, and D. But usually it's numeric. So the maximum grade is 10 and the minimum is 0. So you get used to the idea that there is a total amount, a quantum of knowledge, of ability to solve problems, to solve mathematical issues, and there is a 100%, a total amount to be achieved. And the closer I get to that, the better I am. But I should be making 10 all the time. Now that's an idea, going after, to go as close as we can to 10, does inject in our minds the idea that there is a totality. So you have to deal with the entirety of your life, your entire chronology, your entire number of relatives. You have to deal with all that. You have to solve all these things. And that can be, if not delusional, delusional in the meditation sense. Now, we're not talking about clinical delusions here, but it can be extremely difficult to to achieve, if not impossible. And this is very common. This is a very common source of stress. When I feel I don't know or I don't deal with 100% of what happens with me, I feel that takes into an idea that I am flawed. And then from the idea that I am flawed, I come down to the idea that I am a disappointment to myself. So non-totality, flaw, disappointment. Now this disappointment can be very similar to that which we have talked about in another video, which is called the hurt innocence. It might be a degree of innocence you have about yourself, I have about myself, and that is being frustrated to some degree. Now, understand what we are concerned with is, okay, we have this innocence, but then what is the origin of this hurt innocence? Where is the origin? Where is the origin of these mistakes, of these confounding ideas we built for ourselves that make us suffer unnecessarily? One of them is that we do think there must be some totality somewhere. And as I said, we feel disappointed when we are not the ones that reach that. We don't become omniscient about ourselves, about the world, about what's going on, and consequently we don't become omnipotent over all of our emotions, all of our dispositions, all of our projects, all of our goals in life. So as we go living on, as we go aging, and now here this is very important to talk about. We're talking about episodic memory. We're not talking about declarative memory. Declarative memory is the modality of memory which we use when we're talking about the neurodegenerative clinical pictures, Alzheimer and other dementias. Then you're talking about declarative memory. We're talking about here about episodic memory, which is larger, it's more complex, and it's more ruled by gist traces than by verbatim traces, which is more characteristic of declarative memory. So when we are aging, and we are aging normally, let's say we are aging healthily, we are aging without anything to hinder us, we have a tendency that our episodic memory reduces its rhythm of resignifying itself, in the same sense that our legs run and walk slower and our muscles develop less. Is something about aging, senectude, senescence. And with this senescence we have a diminishing of this the speed with which our episodic memory works on. So we have this decline on these abilities, and not only that, also what we talked about a few videos ago about metamemory, the ability to monitor the monitoration of our own memory. It's just not our memory, but how we administer our memory. Remember the tip of the tongue. Say, I know something, but I cannot recall the name. But I know it. I know I am forgetting. Which in fact is not forgetting. I know this, but I just can't recall it right now. That means I know it. That means I am recalling it. I'm recalling the absence of it, of the information. That is metamemory. And then this also declines in old age, with older ages. And also you have a declining of temperamental factors and principally motivation factors. So, and all these things come very in consonance with what we were talking about boredom a few weeks ago. We're talking about boredom and this decline of motivation, the ability. We lose the ability to become marveled with things. We lose the ability to be inspired and to be motivated So in many aspects, it's up to us to sort of keep ourselves alive and moving and kicking and offering ourselves continually challenges, feeling called to situations. You know, when you say this is uncalled for, so we must, to be sort of happy and to lead gratifying lives, we need to feel we're called for something. That's about inspiring. In Portuguese, it's very, the words are almost the same. So you have this motivational aspect that can become weaker, kind of less prominent, less strong with age. And sometimes young adults, younger people might have a similar kind of experience when they are exhausted. So that's something we have to be very careful about, because exhaustion might take us, can conduct us, can lead us to the experience of a loss of the idea of totality, an increase in the idea of a certain disappointment with ourselves. You say, oh, I'm not what I used to be. No, that might be silly. You're just older. You are what you used to be, yes. You don't run like you used to run. You don't talk like you used to talk. You don't do a lot of things with the intensity and with the dimension you did in the past. But that is a point. If we start trying to go after these things, again, see them as flaws and try to fix them, try to mend them through an experience of totalness, totality, we are certainly bound to get more and more disappointed with ourselves. And that, a continual disappointment with myself, can be noxiously, viciously stressful. So, to deal with that, with a certain decline in our vitality, down in with our strength, can take us to stress. Whereas dealing with it in a new fashion and putting ourselves to novelty, but not totally. We already know it's not complete, it's not absolute, because this decline is unnoticed. Sometimes other people can notice it, but many times only ourselves. Only we ourselves realize it. And it can be if it's the technique, can be very discreet. And then you have, again, a feeling of loss. Like something I had and I no longer have. I don't own it anymore. I have to chase it if I want it back. And then this chasing back what is lost, I can have the idea that, thinking of a totality, I will have an antidote for my aging condition. Whereas it's precisely the contrary. It's about using this huge capacity that we have very largely in older ages, that you have that global, a landscape, panoramic, a large vision of things, just and use that in our favor, and not just feeling about the things we lost. It's about readapting. But the basic point is, we must not think of these things as defects, as flaws, failures. I am disappointing people because I am no longer able to do things in the same speed and in the same timing and the strength that I used to. That's definitely lost. But you only know you used to run quicker before, or you used to work longer. You only know that because of episodic memory. So it's another effect of this prodigious form of memory we have, this prodigious capacity of having continuity of ourselves with ourselves. A self. Again, not an ego, but a self. The knowledge of a self, of a continuous self. So don't be too angry at yourself when you realize you're not doing things as you used to, because that is due to a huge, fantastic, lucid aspect of your existence, which only improves with age, if you only let it. But you must allow it. We must allow our old age to do its job, not just think of it as something, as a crescendo of limitations. Okay? Then self-awareness, mindfulness awareness steps in as a precious tool in that direction. I've heard more than one person saying that at older ages we can practice and we can meditate better sometimes than any younger ages. I've never been as old as I am. I'm not able to make this kind of assumption at this point of my life, but here stands these people's testimonies. Thank you very much. If you feel this video has helped you, please don't forget to give us a like, give us your comments. Your critics are very welcome. Share the video and subscribe to our channel for further content. Thank you very much. Just remembering the further content, sometimes some of you might be seeing this video for the first time. Then we have a series of previous videos about phases of stress and then the origins of stress. It might be wise to watch those first and then form a sequence. That way things don't get too lost. Okay? Thank you very much. See you soon.